One thing we can't do is ignore artificial intelligence. The first time I used ChatGPT to help me write an email, it was amazing. That was the first clue to me that AI was going to be something that affected my industry. And that's what kicked us into high gear at Gaston Day School, and it's what led me to find a partner that was going to hold my hand and walk with us through this process. For a school like ours, considering this engagement with PCG was multifaceted. One, we had to consider it from a financial standpoint. The unknowns in terms of technology. There's a huge fear which creates resistance to change. There's a fear of losing control. There's a fear of unknown. And so we felt it was necessary to really dive in and attack it all at the same time. We also didn't see a way where we could accomplish that comprehensive goal by using a workshop approach or sending some of our employees to conferences or webinars. We had to find someone that was going to not only help us answer the questions, but help us decide what questions to ask. We decided to really partner with PCG to allow us to actively work on student projects, teachers that wanted to look at creating and redeveloping authentic assessments, multiple areas of our administrative team to look at it from a business case standpoint. We're in a relatively weak independent school market, and we feel the need to be ultra competitive when it comes to our operating model.
Sometimes kids will call me Mama Allen. And as a teacher who's been doing this for over 20 years at this point, and a parent who has 2 kids with learning disabilities, I can say to them, I get it, I can relate. It would take everybody on my team to take a grade level and work on a study plan for each grade level. The bot that PCG created for us allows me to create the study schedule, tweak it for each student, which saves me a ton of time because then I can sit down with the student one-on-one, go over the schedule, look at the week ahead and plan. I'm not spending so many of my hours working on creating the schedule, but rather working with the student one-on-one.
Pathos had shared with us a generic prompt that can be used for any department. I applied it to my interest in creating a film for Ratatouille and asked for some ideas for authentic assessment on that. The student engagement really went up in this unit. They enjoyed it, and I think that goes a long way to their interest in the program and everything. Almost brought a tear to my eye because they really did a good job putting it all together.
A lot of my job is sitting down and doing appeals to families and different people within our community. It's a very labor-intensive process because we have to figure out all the different pieces that need to go into it. With this new process of AI, it can help me to craft the basic skeleton bones of that, and then I can spend more of my time getting to know who I'm sending these letters out to and adding that personal touch that really humanizes these communications to our families.
So scheduling at GDS has been a challenge for many years. We have tried multiple times to switch to a system that would allow for that automation of scheduling and so registration and scheduling, but for so many reasons it just hasn't worked over the past 3 or 4 years. So I think that's where Pathos has really come in and really help us streamline our processes. We take a process that has gone from 2 to 3 months typically, now down to a matter of weeks. As I see the approach that in partnering with Pathos is that we have someone we can speak to. They will understand our system to the point that they could probably be scheduling for us.
3 to 4 hour every Friday morning, checking a spreadsheet, making sure all the pieces are there, not having anything double booked, then putting it into an email, then getting a response, then putting it back into a document. So it was a lot of just back and forth of things that don't necessarily need a person to look at, like a computer can just look and see. And now instead I've been able to spend Friday mornings walking around, talking to people, seeing how people's weeks are going, checking in and having conversations. So not only does it just make the second half of the day so much better when we have events and games, but you also just get to have conversations that I wouldn't have had time. So that has been massive to not have to manually retype literally the same email 20 times every Friday.
I've always been a creative person. I've always loved playing video games, so I just would like to do that for a living. I'd like to be able to be creative and make stuff that other people enjoy. AI gives me a way to get my art done a lot quicker. I've been able to keep my creative lead, but have the AI do all the tedious work.
I live in China for most of my life. We've been always a medicine family. My grandma was a surgeon, my aunt is a lab assistant. I want to be a doctor, but obviously I'm not an expert right now, but my insights into AI helping medicine field is that it can be very effective on how we collect data and how we organize them. After getting to know Pathos, the company, they provide a lot of information on how AI could change the era of medicine in terms of how the quantitative data will be analyzed into code and by the program. And also they introduced me into a new AI program called Gemini, designed solely for medicine and healthcare users. Now I really want to get in touch with more AI stuff in the future because I can tell it's going to be a huge trend.
It's almost like we have a department on campus that is responsible for AI integration, and it's this thought partner that's able to remote in or occasionally be here physically to help us with some of those complex questions. And that to me was the game changer in finding Pathos, is that we found not only a person, but we found a team that was going to not just work with me, not just work with someone on my staff, but dive in and get to know a team of teachers, get to know a team of students. At Gaston Day School, we decided we couldn't afford to wait for an early adopter in the industry to show us how to do it. We felt from a business standpoint that we had to lean in because we couldn't afford to miss out. At our school, time is the most valuable resource, and it's allowing us to redirect that time to student-centered attention. We have an obligation to prepare our students for a world that doesn't exist yet. I have to be in a position where I can tell the parents at my school that your students are prepared for whatever change comes their way, and we've given them the tools to respond to a landscape that's going to be different.